And today, we're playing Asagao Academy.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
Okay. Let me go ahead and some stuff up and running as far as Twitch goes. Before I forget to broken itself because I all tabbed out. Hold on a second. I'll bring it back up. Yep, cancel. We can skip that first little bit because, yeah, don't need to see it again. Come on, let's go. So yeah, as the live notification says, I'm just catching up on progress for Asagao Academy videos. I played this probably like going on a year now. Come on.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
So I'm just gonna play through it up until where I stopped with the videos, which I think was the end of day 4. So yeah, let's just do it. Train made its way along the gentle curve of the coast of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading and hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him in the last compartment with any available space. He shrugged, nodded, and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It had been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't looked at me once. Void of conversation, I took instead to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush carmine seats. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth, over and over. Now and again I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes the smeared green would break and reveal the quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. Eventually, this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting the buttons on the seat cushions. 1, 2, 3. The train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy and his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students on the train were wearing. Instead, it was a green varsity-like jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn on front. So, you're a first year then. He folded his newspaper neatly and set it in his lap and looked at me with a half-interested gaze. Did he just catch me staring? Now that the paper was gone, I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made him look like he was almost sparkling? Me? He glanced around the compartment empty beside us and laughed. Oh. No, I'm not a first year, I'm a third year. The train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against metal tracks. A sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left in my stomach, but I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. What kind of impression would I leave puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? The boy frowned. I picked at the hem of my cotton skirt. That's not possible. I've never seen you here before. It took me a moment of mouth fishing to find a response. It's because I'm a transfer student? He laughed again. A transfer student, huh? We don't get many of those. I removed my acceptance letter from the front pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavyweight, off-white, had accumulated creases from my reading and rereading, as if the words might have changed since the last time I read it. The boy took it, studied it, then handed it back to me. Excuse me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hannah, I suppose I'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up his suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped a response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then I realized that he, having gotten it from my acceptance letter, knew my name, and I had never gotten his. The train settled at the station, and I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. Trees were already green, and their leaves shivering with the occasional gust weaving through them. The air was mild, with only a few clouds hanging in the sky. I walked along the road with a swarm of blue-jacketed bodies, looking at the little groups breaking off from the crowd. Everyone was buzzing so animatedly around me. Ooh, boy. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands. It was leather-bound and worth more than anything it contained. It wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that what I owned didn't amount to much. My school issued black Oxfords clicked on the pavement. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lay awake imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao Academy for the first time. A new start. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk, that somehow everything would be magically different. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. I hadn't changed. By the time I reached the massive gate to Asagao Academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. School, framed by the gate's twisted black metal, was just as beautiful as the glossy photos as I saw in its pamphlets. That was it. Or this was it. Asagao Academy. I glanced around. The swarm of students gathered around the gate. Beyond it, tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. A girl pressed a button to one side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate with great effort creaked outwards and cleared the pathway. As the rest of the group shifted into motion, I followed along, as sheep in the herd. My stomach tied itself into knots. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. A tired-looking man with graying hair was calling out for first years. A cluster of fresh-faced students gathering around him. Hey, look at that girl. I turned a few feet away from me. A small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. Bro, you can't snicker at me. Pink hair, are you kidding me? How desperate can you get? Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls, following a few steps behind them. Sorry, I'm just tweeting out that I'm live. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes crunching against the gravel. Okay. Anyway. My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. Luckily, I found myself in the girls' dormitory, a large sign at the lawn reading Primrose House. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao have? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me. Walked over.
Oh, you
must be
my roommate!
Oh, there you go. I must be her roommate. I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle.
What?
Me?
Bingo.
Of course, you silly. Let me guess, room 325? Thought back to the paper I received a month prior with a list, excuse me, of all the supplies I needed for the year and my dorm arrangements. Yeah, that's right. She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me? When I found out my roommate was a transfer student, I knew you were going to be a total main character. I'm sorry. A what?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair. I felt a lump forming in my throat. What was she talking about? She had to be making fun of me. I hadn't spent more than 5 minutes on campus, and I was already being mocked. My hands began to tremble. Is there something wrong with my hair? Her face slackened from its amused smile to a more worried expression. Then she began to laugh again. No, it's great. I'm sorry.
It's great, I'm sorry. We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh gosh. I'm Mai Sasuke. You must be Hana.
I bowed my head.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you, May. Mai. All your school books are waiting in our room with your welcome letter, and I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad. Mai started walking towards the dorm's front doors, followed behind like a lost puppy. Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to. Good, they'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus, but I can show you around. We don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? I'm glad I brought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. I started already. I hope you don't mind. But I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know? She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. She held the front door open for me, and I hurried inside. Girls filled up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were, more often than not, how was your break, and look at how tan you got. It seemed like everyone knew each other. I followed May as she led me through the maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last, narrow white doors lining both sides of the pale pink walls. Thin gold numbers were tacked to the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed. You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. Saitomo does them every year and he's like totally dull. He just drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves. Thanks. We headed down a hallway on the 3rd floor. Mai stopped us in front of a door numbered 325. Here we are. A faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. The walls, like a hallway, were soft, powdery pink. May already defaced them with tapestry of posters, magazine cutouts, and photographs. Some of the photos were of cats, but most were of male models and rugged musicians. Tortured souls. The only my guitar understands me world tour. Wow. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, a small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school, were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. The top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. Bottom bunk had a single stiff-looking pillow and a thin cotton blanket that I didn't need to touch to know it was horribly itchy. I must have grimaced because May quickly smiled at me. I bought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. I went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags. But we were only there for a week. Jeez, that is overpacking. She laughed, pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk, and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me.
Perfection.
There, that's much better. Thanks, May. I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, an old portable radio, and a small black box. Mai opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in. So, where are you from? I slid the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk. About 2 hours north of here, it's a small town called Amararisu. You probably wouldn't have heard of it. I set the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. Oh, did you go to a different boarding school, or? No, I went to a public school down the street from my house. Public school? What was that like? Were the students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to private schools. My parents work a lot, and my dad goes overseas, so I think they stuck me here for convenience. Oh, hey, what's that? I removed an ornately patterned origami crane from the black box and was setting it on the unclaimed writing desk. Oh, this? My mother made it for me a long time ago. I set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assumed were provided for me. Wow, it's so pretty. I've never seen paper like that before. Oh yeah, the lights. Let me get them. May went to her own desk, opened up the drawer, and pulled out a long, tangled string of fairy lights. I thought these would look nice. Here, help me string them up. She grabbed a container of pushpins and pulled her wooden desk chair out and over to one wall. I did the same with my own. Together we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room. How was the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy and...
What?
Some guy, huh? Was he cute? Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name. May seemed disappointed for a moment, then perked back up. You'll have to point him out to me if you see him again. Okay. Once we finished stringing the lights, May climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly.
Yeah!
Done! Okay, now it's time for lunch. The food here is pretty good. There's this ramen place down the street from campus that's like out of this world. The school only lets us leave campus on the weekends. May walked to the window. We could go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you might want to go to the cab since you just got here. We could. She was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter. Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos just totally tripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it. Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have. Oh well, anyways, let's go eat. I'm totally starved. She led me out of the room before I even had a chance to respond. The cafeteria was buzzing with students and excited for the new year. The only people as nervous looking as I felt were the tables of skittish, wide-eyed first years. I stepped into line behind May, taking an empty plastic tray. We shuffled through, asking for helpings from the sulky cafeteria workers when we passed something that looked good. Sorry. With full trays, May led me straight to a table in the back where a few students were already sitting. May sat down and I took a seat across from her. Hi May, how was your break? It was good. I went to Italy and Spain. Dad fell off a jet ski and broke his ankle.
Uh-huh.
It's better now, though. Oh? Well, that's nice. I expected to be introduced, but the girl turned back to her group of friends and Mai turned back to me. She began to assault her food with a fork and tell me in practically a minute-by-minute account about her fleeting romance last summer with the boy she met on the beach that didn't go further than a few salty kisses. I sat back and let May talk. For the first time since arriving on campus, I felt like I was finally able to breathe. I picked up my Brussels sprouts and studied May as she spoke. The more she talked, the more I began to notice small details about her. She had a high songbird voice.
What?
She was dynamic, her face twisting this way and that way into exaggerated expressions as she spoke. She laughed often. She imitated people in wildly unflattering voices, seemingly unrelated to her actual opinion of them. But most notably, she talked. A lot. I didn't find this particularly annoying, as it filled the silence, and she hardly ever asked questions that required my full attention. Just as May was rounding off a shockingly detailed account of the time she accidentally walked in on her friend's older brother in the act of changing, a flash of familiar green caught my eye. I glanced over. Hey, that's him! Huh? Who? I leaned across the table to whisper, just in case he could hear me through the ambient chatter of the lunchroom. The boy from the train, that's him.
What?
Jared? Yeah, with the weird green jacket and swoopy hair. He just picked up his tray and was walking past us when something seemed to catch his eye. Hmm? Oh, you. I looked up at him, suddenly realizing he was talking to me. Hana, I met you on the train. How are things settling down for you? Really well. I found my roommate and she's been helping me out. I gestured to May, who was thunderstruck. In fact, looking around, everyone was. People stopped eating to turn and stare at Jared and me. My shoulders bunched around my neck. Well, if you ever need any help, I'll be around. Third year, right? I nodded.
All right.
Remember my friends are in that year. Of course, they can't compare to me, but I'll give them the heads up to look out for you. He flashed a dazzling smile, then winked. It's the least I can do for such a cute girl. Well, I'll see you around. I watched a torrent of thoughts raging through my head as he took his seat next to a bunch of guys who were all wearing the same jacket. Oh. That's Jared. She tore her eyes away from him and looked at me.
He's so cute.
He's the most beautiful guy in school.
Oh, Jared.
I can't believe he just looked at me. I looked at May. Her cheeks were glowing and indecent pink. Why do they all wear those jackets? Aren't all the guys supposed to wear blue blazers as part of their uniform? No, they're allowed to. You know Jared? The girl turned back around and was looking at me with sudden interest. Did I know him? I only talked to him on the train for a few minutes, so not really. We weren't friends or anything. But looking around, May and this girl weren't the only ones who were interested. Everybody seemed to be listening in. He seemed so surprised when he talked to me. Maybe a little white lie couldn't hurt? Okay. Yeah. Oh. She looked me up and down, sniffed, and turned away. Well, hello! Don't mind Mimi. She was just trying to get in with you. Get in with me? Why? Well, you asked me about those guys in their jackets, right? Those are their Normal Boots Club jackets. They're... What? What's Normal Boots Club? The club we have at school here. It's like totally exclusive and full of only the coolest students. We get together and play video games. or something. The one right there is John, also known as JonTron, whose bird's name is Shock. John is also the president of the drama club here at school. Next to him is PBG. He and John founded the Normal Boots Club together. PBG is one of the best soccer players on our team. Then there's Gerard. People call him the completionist because he's obsessed with completing things. He has the biggest itty-bitty key collection I've ever seen. Next to him is Jared, also known as Pro Jared. He's a model. Then there's Satchbag, but everyone calls him Satch. He's like crazy smart. Those guys over there are Paul, Nick, and Joss. They write a column in the school newspaper called Continue. Paul, the one standing up, is the student council president. The guy on the end there is Shane. He knows more about video games than anyone, ever. She exhaled a dreamy sigh into her mashed potatoes. So, how would someone, join the Normal Boots Club? You don't choose the boots, Hannah. Boots choose you. What does that even mean? You have to be presented with the boots to be in the club, and they're like super selective. What are the boots? The club has this boot statue. It's like one of their patches. It's like the one on their patches, but it's gold-plated. It's their mascot, I guess. They do this weird initiation ritual with it. Ritual? I hear they fill a room with candles and wear these totally creepy robes during initiation. This year 2 girl said she saw it once. They were like all chanting around the boots and it sounded like they were talking backwards. But I don't believe her. And even if it's true, I don't care if they're a cult because they're all really hot. They have a lot of friends? Yeah, tons of friends. I'd say they were the most popular kids in the school. I mean, everyone in the school totally looks up to them. I bet they could get any girl in school, too. Or boy, for that matter. Hey, are you gonna eat your cake? I shook my head and pushed the plastic tray across to her. The remainder of the lunch, I listened to May talk about Jared through mouthfuls of half-dissolved frosting. Back at the dorm, I sorted through the pile of textbooks the school left for me. My radio was playing a poppy tune, equal parts music to static. May fervently scribbled in a notebook at her desk, hunched over it with a strikingly poor posture.
Hey.
Hey, May?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. She didn't bother to look up. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Almost forgot about something here. Oh, what am I trying to do here? Here we go. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. She didn't bother to look up. Am I supposed to have a textbook for year 3, for History 309? Oh, looks like OBS didn't like that. Hold on just a second. I'll do this again.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
There we go. She shuffled through the papers on her desk before producing a thick textbook. The demure man in a powdered wig frowned at me from the cover. Yeah, this one. I sighed. I don't have that one. The school might have missed it. May shrugged and set the textbook back in her pile. They have a bunch at the library. You can just check one out. Where's the library? May riffled through her notebook and wrote something down. She tore the page out and handed me a crudely drawn map. Oh. Okay, well, I'll be back in a little bit. It took me at least 20 minutes to find the library. By the time I realized I was holding the map upside down, the sun was setting. The library was much larger than I expected. The walls lined from floor to ceiling with books of all sizes on rough wooden shelves. Intimidated, I headed for the front desk. A recognizably green and gray jacket was bent behind the counter. Excuse me. Normal boots. I briefly considered running away.
Hey.
Can I help you? Too late. Yeah, the school forgot to give me one of my textbooks. I was told I could get it here. Which one is it? The History 309 textbook. He stepped from behind the counter and motioned for me to follow. We dodged between the aisles in a comfortable silence. He seemed friendly enough, I should say something. What was his name again? Shane? Gerard? John? No, not John.
Satch.
Satch. Huh? Oh, you work here? Of course he worked here. He chuckled, dimples appearing in his cheeks. Yeah, I'm the librarian's assistant. It's my second year and I love it. I get to help people find books that speak to them. His eyes twinkled like a kid's on Christmas. Your book's right down here. He stopped at a row of thick, dusty books. Was this all history? And pulled out the book with the powder-wigged man I saw from earlier. Thanks. He waved his hand. It was nothing. Do you need help with anything else? I wanted to make a good impression on the Normal Boots Club, but I couldn't come up with anything. No, thanks.
Copacetic.
You're welcome. As we headed back through the cavernous library, my unease melted away. We weren't talking, but just being near him felt I was being wrapped in a soft blanket. I resisted the urge to snuggle up to him. We neared the front desk, stepping around a clump of studying students. As we passed, one of them shifted. Eh? Something white flew past my face. A thick piece of triangular paper lay at my feet. I bent over and picked it up. It was surprisingly heavy. There was a quarter inside of it. If I was just a hair slower, it would have hit me in the face. The student snickered, and I recognized the boys that made fun of my hair this morning among them. My heart dropped. I scanned my memory for anything I might done to offend them, but come up with nothing. My hand started to shake. I hid it behind my back, trying to think of some way to defend myself. Why did you do that? Eh? What do you mean? We're just messing around. Are you suggesting we did it on purpose? I faltered. There was nothing I could say. I was outnumbered. They would twist my words around no matter how straightforward I was. No, Sorry. One of the boys held his hand out for the paper. I inched closer to give it to him, angry at myself for being so compliant. I wish I were. A gentle warmth closed over my hand and took the paper from me. Satch examined the paper closely. I see what the problem is. Your aim would be better if you cut the corners before you folded it. He placed the paper on the table. The boy looked at him in sheer awe. Be careful though, you almost hit her and that would have been awful. My hands began to sweat as panic shifted through me, afraid of the response, but geez, we're sorry, we'll be more careful next time. Yeah, it was an accident. They apologized? Thanks, I appreciate it. I gave them a wide smile and continued off down the aisles. I followed closely behind, my legs weak. Don't tell me they stopped because of him. Simply because I was with him? I wanted to thank him, but my heart was pounding. So hard that I knew my voice would shake. reached the front counter as he scanned the history book. Excuse me. Hold on a second here. This is so annoying. Okay, I think... Okay. I was just checking something. We reached the front counter and he scanned the history book. My lips trembled as I willed myself to say something, anything, to thank him. He tilted his head to the side. What books do you like to read? Oh, fiction? Chuckled. I just finished a good book. I think it'd be right up your alley, if you don't mind me saying so. He reached under the counter and pulled out a thick green book and passed it to me. A man in black stood on the front, hugging a woman in royal robes. It's long, but it's one of my favorites. The Princess Betrothed. I know things can be tough transferring to a new school. If you're ever worried, just read this. It'll transport you 100 miles away in a second. Tears stung my eyes, so I ducked my head.
Satch.
Thank you, Satch. For more than just the books. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think I got your name.
My name is Hana Mizuno.
My name is Hana Mizuno. I'm a transfer student.
Hana.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Hana. Let me know how you like the book. I will. I couldn't have gone better. Not only was Satch impossibly kind, but being around him felt easy, refreshing. Like being doused in the mist of a waterfall. Oh gosh, what was I thinking? My cheeks hot, I left the library, 2 surprisingly heavy books under one arm. I settled into bed, eager to get started with my new reading material. But May was sitting at her desk carving a pencil idly into the pages of a notebook. Every few minutes she released a long drawn-out sigh as the lead of her pencil whined against the paper. I lowered my book and took the bait. Is something wrong, May? She let out another dreary sigh. I hope Jared notices me this year. Jared know you like him? May whirled around in feigned shock.
What?
I don't like Jared. Oh. I closed my book and set it aside, deciding to play along. Well, have you at least tried talking to him? No. I mean, I have before. Why don't you try again? She bobbed her head from side to side, considering this like it never crossed her mind before. Yeah, maybe I could do that. Satisfied, I picked my book back up. Have you ever had a boyfriend, Hana?
What?
Huh? Me? No, never. Really? Never? Never. I bet you 10,000 yen that you meet a totally cute boy here and fall in love by the end of the school year. You're crazy. I buried my face back in my book, barring May from any further discussion. Fall in love by the end of the year? If I were a betting kind of girl, I'd take that bet. I woke the next morning with what felt like a lizard in my throat. May was already up, shuffling through her school bag with an enigmatic grin. First day of school.
Hana!
Hana, you're finally awake. Voice sliced through the air like a knife, and I winced. She was definitely a morning person. It's time for the first day of school. Aren't you excited? I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What do you mean? Is something special happening today? Something strange always happens on the first day of school. Especially to someone like you. You wink.
What?
Someone like me?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean. She smiled and started messing with a pile of papers on her desk. Shaking my head, I got out of desk and pulled my uniform out of my closet. My palms sweat as I hold the gold vest and blue jacket. Is it really possible for things to be different here than they were at home? What if the problem wasn't actually the school? I shook the thoughts out of my head and changed into my uniform. Oh. What is it? You look so cute.
Really?
Really? Heat crept up my neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. Your hair matches your uniform so well. You look like a flower blooming straight out of the ground. Thank you. Water stung the back of my eyes and I turned to start packing my backpack. Why was I getting worked up about something as little as this? Must have gotten less sleep than I thought. Something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm just happy. How dumb was that? I started crying at the first sign of someone else being nice to me. I took a deep breath to steady my nerves. What an oddly menacing thud. All the air left my lungs as something like horse hooves slammed against my back. Ugh. We'll do just fine. Don't worry. This is gonna be awesome. I stiffly peered over my shoulder. That was you?
What?
Huh? I stood behind me, her hand raised. Somehow, she had the strength of a bodybuilder. Nothing. I was just about to zip my bag up when I spotted the book Satch gave me lying on my nightstand. Princess Betrothed. Said if I ever needed to be transported somewhere far away, I could take it with me. Pretty good so far. Maybe it would be smart to bring it along, just in case I had no one to talk to between class periods. Would I need it for my first day of class? Yeah, I think so. Let's take it. I put it into my already overfull bag, biting my lip. It never hurt to be prepared, right? Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Stick with me and you'll be fine. I opened the door and together we stepped into the hallway, merging into a steady flow of chittering girls and fruit-flavored perfume. Ugh. Oh my. Oh my, May. I did not know we lived on the same floor. No way, really? That's so awesome. Now we'll be able to catch up, whatever happened between you and... The river of girls shifted as we head down the stairs. Suddenly I found myself surrounded by a bunch of people I didn't know. Oh wow, what a jerk he turned out to be. Mai's exclamations faded into the buzz of voices in the air. Oh no. What would I do if we got separated? Anxiously I searched the crowd of girls for May, but I couldn't find her. Everyone was dressed in the same Asagao uniform. It was difficult to tell anyone apart, and being so short didn't really help the situation. As we turned the last corner down the stairwell, I saw a flash of red hair, a little ways in front of me. May? I reached between the two girls and tapped her on the shoulder. Huh? Oh, who are you? The girl's eyes flashed, almost like a jolt of electricity shot through them. I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else. She said nothing and turned away. Before I knew it, I stood outside of the Primrose house, watching the flow of girls disperse across campus. Mai was nowhere to be seen. I couldn't even hear her chirpy voice. Oh, man. I took a deep breath, biting my lip. This wasn't a big deal. I could go to class alone. But I didn't even know where the building was. I reached into my backpack and dragged out my class schedule. Homeroom. 206 Poppy Hall. Excuse me. Which one was Poppy Hall again? Weren't the classrooms on the other side of campus? I picked a direction and began to walk, trying to ignore my rising panic at the thought of arriving late to the first day of class. As a third year, where no one knew me, all of the people staring...
Hey!
Hey, you okay? You look a little lost. Someone called out to me and I turned around, almost jumping for joy, when I froze. A Normal Boots jacket. He was part of the Normal Boots Club. I could practically feel my tongue swelling in my mouth. If this was a normal Boots Club member, I had to make a good impression. He was one of the founders, right? Then he must be JonTron. Yes, I'm new. I don't know where Poppy Hall is. You a freshman? No problem. My class is in Poppy Hall. I'll walk you there.
Really?
Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Was this really happening? He began walking towards a large brick building in an enthusiastic manner. Oh, I skipped all that. I didn't notice it when May pointed him out yesterday, but JonTron had big brown eyes and a warm-looking face. He was basically a human puppy. I glanced up at him out of the corner of my eye. Eep! A bird. Bird on his shoulder. Birds always made me uncomfortable. Something about the ease with which they could poke out someone's eye. Jeez. Is something wrong? Why'd you stop? Oh, no, nothing's wrong. He followed my gaze to the bird on his shoulder.
Hey.
Oh, this is Jacques. Isn't he cute? Nice to meet you. It spoke? Yeah. He put his hand to his shoulder and Jacques jumped to his palm. Jacques is a robot bird, see? Hello. Jacques' eyes gleamed a dangerous red when he spoke, but nothing else suggested he wasn't a normal bird. In fact, if I hadn't known better, I would have said the red in his eyes was painted on. That's amazing. Jacques twitched his head to one side, examining me in return. The more he looked at me, the less afraid I was. What are you looking at?
What?
What? Nothing, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Jacques can be a little sassy. Who are you calling sassy? I'm not the sassy one. I don't forget to feed you. Jacques, that was one time. I was alone and starving in the frozen tundra of this empty world, loveless, afraid. Ignore him. I've been bringing him with me to the drama club and he's taken a little too well to it. I see how this is. Shut me out like I have nothing to add to the conversation. Jacques retook its place on John's shoulder. This time facing away from us as if miffed. We resumed our walk towards Poppy Hall. I'm JonTron, by the way. Call me John. Ha, Hana. Nice to meet you.
Hana.
Hana, that's a cute name. What? Thank you. So how long have you had Jacques? Since middle school. We've been together for 4 years now. Ain't that right? I'm not listening. Yeah, well, I love him to death. I don't know what I'd do without him. It seemed like life would be a lot easier without him, but who was I to say? We arrived at the brick building. A white sign surrounded by poppies declared it to be, unsurprisingly, Poppy Hall. What room are you in? Room 206.
Really?
Seriously? Yes. That's my homeroom. We're in the same class. John laughed and clasped me on the shoulder. Wonderful. I guess I'll be seeing more of you then, right?
Yeah.
Right. Together we entered Poppy Hall. Poppy Hall was lined with fluorescent lights and Asagao blue lockers. Ugh. The lack of students milling around in the hallway indicated we were a bit late. We ran up the stairs and made it into the classroom just as the bell rang. My heart caught in my throat. Thankfully, the teacher hadn't come yet. Instead, students clumped into tight pods and milled around the classroom, catching up on vacation news.
John.
Thank you so much for showing me to class, John.
See you later.
No problem. I'll see you around. He waved and disappeared into the wriggling mass of students. I glanced around, looking for an empty seat. Hana. May peeled herself from between a cuddling couple. Ugh. Was that JonTron? Were you just talking to JonTron? Yeah. May's eyes widened, and I couldn't help feeling a little smug. I realized I didn't know the way to class after you and I got separated, and he offered to walk me. May emitted a highly pressurized squeal. JonTron walked you to class? Oh my gosh, you have to tell me everything. She grabbed me by the wrists and pulled me to an empty desk on the back of in the back corner of the room. Right next to the window. Whew. I saved you a seat. She slid in and took off my backpack, hooking it on the side of my desk. I was a little bit worried the books inside were too heavy for the bag to handle, but so far it held up well. Sorry we got separated, by the way. It can get a little chaotic sometimes. So, tell me, what happened? What did he say? What does he smell like? Does he have peach fuzz? Is it rough? Wait, what? They're very important questions I'm asking. You need to answer them. Is his hair super silky, or did it have the roughness of a dog's coat? Before I could answer, the door to the front of the room slid open and a tall woman strolled in. The class went quiet and obediently slid into their seats. My heart beat furiously, blood rushing through my ears.
Class?
Good morning, class. The teacher's melodious voice swam through the room, calming the buzzing high of students back from break. My shoulders relaxed. Oh, excuse me, and my fear ebbed away. I'm your teacher, Shizuka Wakahisa. You may call me Miss Shizuka. The emphasis she placed on the word led me to believe calling her Mrs. wasn't a mistake she would take lightly. Some of you may have noticed that we have new students this semester. A hail of murmurs passed through the class. Some people glanced at me. Nope, there was that fear again. Would you like to come up and introduce yourself? I nodded, stood, and walked to the front of the classroom, counting my steps to make sure I wouldn't fall. I faced the class, took a deep breath to introduce myself, and I noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was John, sitting by two other boys wearing Normal Boots Club jackets. One of the boys, the tallest one, was staring at me, the barest of frowns on his face. Something about him seemed really familiar. Wait, he was PWG, wasn't he? The other founder of the Normal Boots Club. Suddenly, all the strength left my knees. What should I do? Why was he frowning? Was it possible that I already made a bad impression on him? You had to be kidding me. If he didn't like me, what did that mean about everybody else? Wouldn't they follow his lead? I swallowed. The faces of the class began to congeal, forming one giant blob. You moved from Amaririsu, right? Oh boy, that is a mouthful. I nodded and swallowed again. Then, like a beacon of light, I noticed May smiling, giving me a thumbs up. That's right. What would May do in this situation? Yes. I just moved here.
My name is Hana Mizuno. I transferred from Amaririsu Public High School. I'm really excited to be here. I hope you'll all take good care of me from now on.
I bowed my head to the class, and they clapped politely. When I looked up, PBG wasn't frowning, but he seemed oddly confused. Maybe he always looked like that. Thank you. You may be seated. I returned to my seat, heaving a small sigh. The hardest part of the day was over. Shizuka began to talk about standard procedure for the semester, the rules for classes, when homework was due, that sort of thing. It was all very similar to my old school, and I spaced out in spite of myself. A brief flicker of movement caught my eye. PWG again. I glanced at him and his head snapped back to the blackboard. What was his problem? Class continued on like that until the bell finally rang and it was time for lunch. May stretched her arms over her head and yawned. Man, I hate the first day of class. It's always so boring. Weren't you looking forward to it this morning? Something about exciting things happening? Oh, yeah, but it already did. You met JonTron, didn't you? I've got nothing left to look forward to. She sighed. And I was hoping to see Jared before class, too. She slouched and fell across the front of my desk. Excuse me. It seemed like this would be happening a lot. Is Jared really that hot? May's head snapped back up, her eyes flashing. What did you say? If you stare directly at him for too long, your nose will melt off. I've seen it happen. What? Anyways, let's head to lunch. I'm super hungry. Oh. I looked at my backpack. It held up well throughout class, but I worried that if I didn't take some of my stuff out now, it might do some permanent damage, especially with Satch's book in there. Couldn't exactly afford a new backpack. I need to put something in my locker first, but if we don't go now, they'll run out of sesame seed buns. Oh. That's okay, I'll just go on ahead. Just come find me, okay? Alright. I was so lucky to have someone like her as my roommate. Because I could, I went to my locker and shoved the book inside. As good a book it was, I was infinitely happier that I had May around, so I didn't have to read it. Without her, who knows what I would do with myself, especially with PBG staring at me like that. Maybe I could ask her what was up with him when I met her at the cafeteria. It might just be the way he was. Wow. Cheered, I headed for the cafeteria. I carried my melon bread through the minefield of people searching for the now familiar sight of May's red hair. Where is she? I couldn't see her anywhere, and there was almost no empty seats. All around me, students circled each other, laughing and joking, sharing bites of food and splitting the cost for sodas. Suddenly, I felt very obvious and very alone. Isn't there anywhere I can sit? Just then, I spotted the table at the front of the room. A lone boy sat at it, stabbing his spaghetti with the vigor of a Roman general. He was having a hard time with it. I moved closer to him, working up the courage to ask to sit with him. Well, no wonder. He was eating his spaghetti with a spoon. Wait a second. This guy was in my class, wasn't he? I saw him that morning at the front of the room. He was wearing a jacket just like the normal Boots Clubs, but different. Gold and gray jacket with an 8-bit block on the front. Is he a member of another club? Or maybe he was friends with them?
Hey!
Hey, what?
Anna!
Oh, May. May appeared between me and the boy. He glanced up at us before returning to his spaghetti. Thank goodness I found you. I saved a table for you in the back. Oh. I looked at the boy and then back at May. Come on. He grabbed my shoulder rather forcefully and then pushed me to the back of the room. Hey, what's wrong?
Wow.
We're so lucky I got here when I did. That kid is Brutal Moose. His real name's Ian. He's from the Hidden Block Club. The Hidden Block Club? Yeah, the rival club of Normal Boost. He's really weird. I mean, she looked around her to make sure no one was listening in, but we were completely alone in our little corner of the cafeteria. He speaks in Comic Sans. Whoa. Yeah, it'd be better to stay away from him, especially since you've already gotten to know some of the Normal Boots guys. What are you talking about? I only just met John today. Yeah, right. I saw the way BBG was staring at you. He totally likes you.
Really?
Really? Is that what you thought it was? Either May was blind or she had a serious case of wishful thinking. Oh, totally. It was so cute. Just like my favorite manga. You meet in high school, fall in love, and then go off and fight aliens together. I don't think that's gonna happen. Have some faith in yourself. That's totally what's happening. So now that you're in good with PBG, can you introduce me to Jared? Oh, was that what she was getting at? A hot flash of doubt seized me. Was it possible that May only liked me because she thought I knew the Normal Boots guys? That couldn't be the case, though. She was so nice. Still, looking at her shining and eager face, I couldn't talk myself out of the idea. I actually thought PBG didn't like me.
What?
What? Why would you think that?
Well...
He was glaring at me. Man, you just don't understand it. It's a love triangle. A love triangle. Wait, a what triangle now? I can see it. Stars practically erupted from her eyes. PBG, I can't. But Hana, I love you. But my maidenhood. Where are you going with this? I slammed my fork onto the table. May looked pleased with herself. Okay, I'm just kidding. You're really cute when you blush. You almost match your hair. That's not fair at all. I beg to differ. Still, I searched my mind, eager to change the subject. That was an impressive scenario. What? No, it wasn't. I just made it up on the spot. May laughed nervously. Oh, so that girl who was talking to me when we got separated. May told me the story of her past friendship with this girl like they were eternal arch nemesis. Apparently they had some bad blood. I nodded, choosing to take the time to relax. Before I knew it, we were finished eating. We got up and tossed our trays together. As I headed towards the door, though, May hesitated. Hey, I forgot something back at the dorm. Oh, need help? No, I'm totally okay. I'm just gonna go get it. I'll see you later, though, right?
See you later.
Okay, see you in class. I waved. May sprinted off in the direction of the dorms. Alone again, I crossed my arms and headed back to Poppy Hall. Ah. Dang it. Hold on just a second. Accidentally clicked out of the game. It's a little annoying.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
Here we go. Large groups of 7 or 8 people were laying out in the sun, playing catch and eating lunch on the lawn. It looked like fun to have so many friends like that. I smiled. Maybe this new school really would be better than my last. Without students inside of it, Poppy Hall looked a bit like an abandoned hospital. My footsteps echoed as I climbed the stairs to the 4th floor. With a sigh, I opened up my locker and pulled out the book Satch gave me. It's a good thing I brought it after all. I stepped into the classroom and saw a flash of movement by the window. A boy sat on the windowsill and he jerked up when I came in. He was silhouetted by the afternoon sunshine, so I couldn't quite tell who he was. Hello. I'm sorry, did I bother you? The boy stood and shook his head, and crossed to a desk on the opposite side of the room. As he passed, I was able to see him clearly. Another Normal Boots jacket. This guy. He was Shane from the Normal Boots Club. How on earth did this keep happening to me? Shane sat down at his desk, fidgeted with his hands a little, then turned to look at me. You're the new girl? I nodded. My name is Hana. It's nice to meet you. He nodded. Shane. Silence filled the air between us. Panic built up inside me. This was my chance to get in with the Normal Boots Club, and I was blowing it. I walked to my desk and sat down, setting the book on top of it. Shane looked at me, unsmiling. You're part of the Normal Boots Club? Yes, I am. Why? He spoke as if it were a challenge, almost glaring at me. I just saw your jacket, so I trailed off. The jackets are really cool.
Okay.
Yes, they are. Silence again. He seemed skeptical, as if he expected me to crawl out of my skin and reveal myself to be a large amphibious reptile. I had to do something. Who knew when another chance like this would come? Shane didn't seem friendly. In fact, he seemed downright suspicious. Surely he wasn't on to me already. Maybe it was better not to risk it. Let's try talking to him. So, you play games then? Shane looked over at me. I've always been interested in video games, but I didn't get to play them much growing up. They're really expensive, and my dad couldn't afford them. But I used to go over to my friend's house and play there. Shane didn't respond. Now what? I was out of stuff to say. What did you play?
What?
What? Oh, Mario Kart. We'd go into battle mode on the triple deck. He would drive around by himself on the top level, and I'd try to booby trap the lowest level. There's a good spot next to the ramp. I'd wait there until my mom came racing down the ramp to find me, then smash her with a red shell. Shane's angry stare faded. He was smiling. Sort of. He made the whole room seem 10 shades brighter. Or maybe I was more relaxed. Your mom must have been mad. She was, but she always let me do it. Probably on purpose. Did your mom... The door slid open. Mimi and her friends, a couple of chattering girls, entered the classroom. They stopped and stared from me to Shane. It was clear they thought they were interrupting something, even though we were sitting on opposite ends of the room. Sorry. No, it's fine. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy. They caught me talking to the Shane of the Normal Boots Club. The girls went to their desks and sat down. What were you... Shane was staring at me again, an odd, hurt look on his face. I immediately felt like I was caught doing something I wasn't supposed to. Did he know what I was trying to do? But I mean, it wasn't like I didn't want to talk to him. He was an interesting guy. It's not like I only talked to him because he was in the Normal Boots. But he turned, pulled out a notebook and some pens, and scribbled away, thoroughly ignoring me. The air was stuffy. I tugged at the collar of my shirt, sweating. The girls kept looking at me over their shoulders as if they expected something. I smiled hesitantly at them. They smiled back and then started a conversation amongst themselves. The atmosphere was broken. I heaved a sigh of relief. What was up with these Normal Boots guys? Ron was really nice when I spoke to him, but PBG and Shane seemed to hate me. They were anything but normal. I waited for May to come to class, desperately wanting to tell her what happened. When the bell rang and Miss Shizuka started teaching, May still hadn't come. Class came and went, the bell rang, and I was alone. I will be right back. I need to go get some water. Talking is drying my throat out. A little bit more. Okay. PBG stared at me for the entirety of the class period, his face growing more and more menacing by the minute. Excuse me. How his face wasn't stuck in a perma-frown, I would never know. Shane and John didn't bother talking to me as they left the classroom, and the other students paired up around me. Hey Mimi, would you like to engage in casual discourse this evening? Yeah, of course. But why are you talking like that? I stuffed my book into my backpack and headed to the dorm. With a sigh, I unlocked the door to my dorm room. As soon as the door opened, I heard, Anna! What? May and I lay in a heap on the floor. I'm so glad you're back. She wrapped her arms around my head and nuzzled me. What are you doing? Come, look. She got off me and helped me to my feet. Without May's face filling my vision, I saw something had changed. Oh my goodness! The dorm room looked nothing like it had before. Posters and fairy lights were still up, but now the window had light pink curtains on it that cast a warm haze around the room. A brand new white carpet was on the floor. Pillows were piled high in a mountain on the top bunk of the bunk bed. Even our chairs had been replaced with new cushy leather ones. What happened here? Sorry, I didn't tell you, but I wanted to surprise you. I thought this would come in yesterday, but it was delayed by a day. I wanted to set it up to be a big surprise. I'm still not done yet, though. She gestured to some small potted plants arranged in neat rows on her desk. Want to help?
Yeah.
Do I ever? We finished setting the room up, switching a few objects here and there in order to better facilitate the feng shui, which May told me was excruciatingly important. She especially wanted to make sure our room was filled with reds and pinks and coupled items, though for what purpose I wasn't sure. We collapsed with heavy sighs on the floor, then heaved great big yawns. It's not even the end of the day yet, and I'm so tired. Me too. Wait! She shot up suddenly with a jolt. We should get some ice cream.
Really?
Ice cream? Really?
Yeah!
Yeah, something to celebrate bringing roommates. The ice cream here on campus is genuinely good, I promise.
I don't know.
I don't know. And I'm paying. Well, if that's the case, you made an offer I can't refuse. Sweet, let's go. The school shop was in a side building off the cafeteria, packed with instant noodles and giant bottles of soda. Students watered the aisles aimlessly, clearly here more to spend time than money. May paid the cashier and we grabbed our ice cream cones, mine the one covered in sprinkles. Whoa, this is delicious!
Yeah!
Isn't it? We're lucky to have such good food on campus. This place would be awful if we didn't. I nodded and was about to respond when I noticed a commotion outside. Ooh, let's see what's going on. May grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. There, 3 boys wearing normal boots jackets were shouting at each other, each of their faces turning purple. This again.
What?
What are you talking about?
Mamma mia!
I'm clearly the one who possesses the proper masculine form. Yeah, right. I'm taller than you and more attractive to boot. Come on, guys. Can you not see these muscles? He pulled back the sleeves of his jacket and flexed his arm. These guys always go on about weird stuff like this. They're very energetic. Oh yeah? Josh got right into the downward-facing dog yoga pose and grinned. Look at this butt. Just look at this. What I don't understand is why they don't just ask Jared. Oh yeah? Paul kneeled low to the ground and took off in a sprint, heading straight for us.
Yeah!
Check this out. He sprang into the air, a graceful ballerina's leap, spinning through the sky, and finally came straight for me. When I opened my eyes, I was sprawled flat on the ground, covered in dirt. Something cold and wet oozed in the top of my blouse. Hana, are you okay? I sat up. Chunks of ice cream fell from my blouse to my skirt. What happened? You ran into someone, you idiot. My uniform, it's ruined. For a few seconds, silence, then snickers rippled around me like the whining of cicadas. My throat closed up, water stinging my eyes. No, not this again. I stood up, prepared to walk away with dignity, when the entirety of the Normal Boots Club suddenly appeared in front of my face.
What's up?
What happened here? Seriously? Tears slid down my face. No, not here. I didn't want to cry in front of them.
Hey.
Hana, are you okay? I'm going home.
Hana.
Wait, Hana? It's fine. I just want to be alone for now. It took all of my will not to run back to the dorm. I immediately changed into my pajamas and climbed into bed, reaching for my stuffed rabbit. What am I going to do if this ends up just like last time? Mr. Bunny stared at me with his big, lifeless eyes. I squished him into my chest, losing myself in his soft fur. The door opened with a soft click. Hana, are you okay? Excuse me. I rolled over in bed to face the wall, pretending to be asleep. May stood in the center of the room for a while, looking at me. Finally, she sat down at her desk and began to work on something. The sound of her pencil scratching against the paper stilled my mind. I don't know how many hours passed, but eventually, I fell asleep. I woke up to my alarm beeping, feeling only dread of the hours to come. Okay. After the nightmare that was the ice cream incident yesterday, I never wanted to take another step out of my room. I curled up inside my blankets as my alarm went off. It was only the second day of school, and I felt the same as I did every morning at home. May, of course, was already up. I could hear her hair straighten or clap shut every few seconds from across the room. I felt bad about letting the alarm go off for so long, so I slid my hand out of the covers to switch it off. Hana? Hana, get up, sleepyhead. I know you're awake. I didn't even have time to poke my head out before May's body slammed into the edge of my mattress, bouncing me up. She jumped from almost halfway across the room. Ha! You can't hide from me. You can't hide from May. I'm so sorry. I was breathless, and I paused to calm my heart before speaking again. Are you worried about what happened yesterday? No one cares about it, hon. I almost forgot about it myself. She must have seen my face. She brought an arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her. For real though, we're gonna go to class and no one's even gonna mention that you made a huge fool of yourself yesterday. You could have put that better. I'm kidding. It might have been a big scene, but it totally wasn't your fault. It was Paul, alright? When you jump, you have to calculate your trajectory, just like I did just now. You can learn a lot from a master like me. Get dressed and cheer up. I could bottle up your gloom and sell it to a wizard. And what if he used it for evil? You can't let that happen, Hana. Her smile was wide enough to bridge a gap between the continents. The beginnings of tears pricked my eyes, but this time they were for a different reason. I opened my closet and tried to avoid looking at the sad lump of clothing inside, slathered with dried-up ice cream. I only had 2 uniforms, which had cost my dad an entire month's salary. If I wasn't able to get the stain out of this uniform, what would I do? Sighing, I took my second uniform off its hanger and slipped it on as May waited impatiently for me. Ready to go? I guess so.
Yeah!
Good. Just as May said, no one paid any special attention to me. Well, there were a few odd looks here and there, but nothing nearly as bad as what I was expecting. As the lecture went on, my anxiety for the most part faded. I took to staring out the window to avoid eye contact. A few boys were out on the field playing soccer. Wait, was that PBG? I scooted closer, trying to get a better look. Hana? At the sound of my name, I leaped to attention. If there's something more interesting outside the samurai death battles, feel free to enlighten us. You came here to learn, not to contemplate the scenery. Yes, Miss Shizuka. I'm sorry. She turned back to the chalkboard and continued her lecture as if nothing happened. A few desks in front of me, a guy sitting next to Brutal Moose turned around and gave me a flashy thumbs up. I made a face at him, unsure of exactly what he expected me to do. And Ian turned around and socked him in the head. The other guy mumbled something to him, probably apologizing. Ian's eyes slid to me for a brief instant, and he looked away. They looking at me because of what happened yesterday, or was there some other reason? I shook my head. There wasn't time for this. I had work to do if I wanted to keep my scholarship. After pages and pages of notes on Japanese history, it was nearly time for lunch. Okay, everyone is almost free to go. The work tonight isn't so hard, so don't grumble. You should work together to complete it if you have a hard time. Also, as you may be aware, the Flower Festival is coming up in a week and a half. This news was met with a few cheers as everyone started to pack up. Since you have the day of the festival off, our first exam will be the day before. There were no cheers this time. Romance is wonderful, believe me, I know. Try not to let the festival distract you, okay? That is all. See you tomorrow. Miss Shizuka flashed a peace sign as she winked and walked out the door. What a weird teacher. That lecture was so boring. May walked beside me, a tray in her hands. We were shuffling through the cafeteria trying to find a seat. Didn't you say that yesterday? Probably, but it's true for today, too. Hana, help me. I'm gonna die of boredom. We have an assignment to keep us busy, May.
What?
We already have work to do? Why did you not hear that? May sighed dramatically, then leaned to the side and rested her head on the crook of my neck. I reached up to pat her head a few times, but she straightened before I could do it. Oh God, Hana, Paul's walking over here. He's looking at you. Does he look angry to you? Why is he coming over here? Do you think that he's going to kick you again? Same Paul who humiliated me last night strode towards me. I instinctively backed away, but he kept coming closer.
Hey.
I'm glad I found you. He didn't look angry at me. In fact, he was giving me an odd, lopsided smile. I wanted to make sure you weren't hurt or anything. You ran off before I could properly apologize. I looked down at my feet. It was embarrassing enough that I ran off crying like a little girl, but to know that I made them feel bad was even worse. At the same time, the image of my ruined uniform popped into my mind. I couldn't tell whether I was more angry or embarrassed, or whether I was feeling something else entirely. I got you pretty bad, didn't I? I think I ballerinaed too hard. He tilted his head to the side. It's a shame you're not wearing the uniform from yesterday. I like the pink splotches on you. It matched your hair. A deep, sick feeling crawled up from my stomach to sit in my throat. My dumb, stupid hair. Everywhere I went, people made fun of it. I thought the normal boots guys were different. And he was trying to apologize. How could he say something like that to me? Not for the first time. I thought of dyeing in a different color, but quickly dismissed it. Paul was waiting for a response. May giving me a quick nod as if warning me not to mess this up. I mustered up my best smile, hoping it was at least somewhat convincing. It's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm more than happy to pay for the dry cleaning. Josh and Nick and I feel really bad about everything. We've never made a girl cry before. Well, not by physically injuring her, I guess. Thank you, but I was just going to scrub it in the sink. Dad and I could never afford things like dry cleaners, so I was surprisingly good at hand washing things. That thing's going to need more than just hot water and soap, trust me. Tell you what, I have a friend who's a natural with that kind of stuff. I'll ask her to get the stain out for you. Just meet me later and bring your uniform, okay? I'll try not to kick you this time. Without giving me time to say yes or no, he nodded and turned to leave. He spun quickly back around. I flinched. Are you and, Mai, right? Do you guys have a table? The cafeteria is pretty full right now. You can sit with us, if you want. Just for today. Yes! Yes, we'll go. Right, Hana? Lunch. With the normal Boots Club? Maybe. Maybe I really could become friends with them. Then no one would bother me again. Not about my hair or the ice cream incident. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Alright.
Alright, follow me, ladies. He led us to the middle of the cafeteria where the normal Boots Club sat with a table all to itself. Hey, you found her. You're Hana, right? I nodded, blushing as I took a seat next to the edge of the table next to Paul. Mai forced herself between Jared and PPG. Her eyes were only a few sparkles away from forming huge hearts. Real subtle. So, Hana, we saw that you were upset and we're all worried. Are you feeling better? PPG looked at me, clearly concerned. My heart was beating hard against my chest, but I wasn't sure whether it was because I was nervous or because the sad look on his face made me want to give him a hug. Or maybe it was because I was about 2 inches away from Paul and only an arm's length away from all the other guys. So I tried valiantly to open my mouth. Whispers sped around the lunchroom. Look at those girls over there. Who do they think they are? How come they get to sit there? I wish Senpai would notice me. Main characters get all the luck. Suddenly my thoughts turned dark. Could it be that by getting close to these guys I was setting myself up as a target instead of getting protection? My thoughts spun in my head. I was suffocating. PBG was still looking at me, even more worried than before. I'm fine. Thanks for your concern. Please don't feel bad. It was my fault for getting in the way. I'm sorry for causing such a scene. I should have controlled myself better. I hung my head. I wasn't sure how to act around these guys, so I defaulted to extremely polite. My father would have been proud.
Hana.
Hey, Hana, don't apologize. It was Paul's fault, right, Polly? Nick shoved Paul, who looked exasperated. I apologized best I could, Nick. Give me a break. Dang it, not again. Sorry, this is giving me so many problems. I keep accidentally clicking out of the window. Asagao
Academy Normal Boots Club.
Here we go. It was a relief that PPG wasn't staring at me anymore. Almost no one else was paying to me or May any attention. Shane, however, was still shooting me quick, suspicious glances. It was almost like he didn't want me there, and I felt uncomfortable.
Hey, Hana.
How do you like it here so far, Hana? Good. How about you? I mean, I like it here. Thank you. Gerard smiled at me, then turned away. I picked at my food. The guys were all wrapped up in their own conversations, and Mai was busy preventing hyperventilation from being so close to Jared. I can feel this body heat. Oh dear.
Hey.
You doing okay, Hana? Smiling Satch turned to me. I know we can be overwhelming. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Thanks for recommending me that book, by the way. It's been really good. You like it? That's great. I figured you would. It's really funny, but the narrator's annoying. Yeah, he can be a bit rude. Pushed up his glasses, then grinned at me.
Alright.
You were pretty quiet, but I knew there was more to you. I winced. Sorry, I can be a bit of a wallflower. No need to apologize. I'm sure we've all been wallflowers before. That reminds me, the flower festival. He turned to the group, addressing them all, and as if on cue, they suddenly turned to him to pay attention. Who are you all taking this year? Right, the flower festival. Miss Shizuka mentioned it before. What is the flower festival? No one's explained it to me yet.
Well...
It's basically just a festival. Didn't you have those at your old school? We did have festivals at my old school, but they were just basically 40 kids grouped in one room, sharing snacks they brought from home. Excuse me. We had something kind of like them, but I stopped going.
Really?
Oh, why not? They're so fun. I didn't really want to answer. There's no way I could say, well, my friends turned on me, so when I went, people pretended like I didn't exist. But May was waiting for an answer, and everyone was looking at me. I'm just... not into that stuff, I guess. Oh well, maybe you'll like this one more. Flower Festival happens all over Japan this time of year, but it's a big deal in Higinbana, town right next to Asagao. Apparently there's some kind of myth about flowers that's somewhat important. Supposedly the founder of Hikinbana was an old man who got lost in the mountains, almost died of thirst. His flower spirit came to him and offered him help in return for his vow to protect her home. He agreed, and she drained herself of all of her water so he could drink. The man founded Hikinbana to watch over the meadow in which he met the flower. In some versions of the myth, the man and the flower spirit fell in love. It's a truly romantic festival. One may hope to find someone with which to make a vow of eternal love, just as the man and the spirit did, and to live on to protect the one they love. Jared winked and Mai swooned. So during the day of the flower festival, there's a lot of stalls set up, and you can go play games and eat food or go flower viewing. Then at night, there's a special meadow over by the temple where you can go watch the flowers. There's a bonfire and dancing. It's lots of fun. We look forward to it every year. Asagao sells paper flowers in a little booth to raise money for the people. For the school, too. So there's usually a big volunteer drive beforehand for people who are good at origami. Origami? I'm good at origami.
Really?
Really? Shane is too. Maybe you should work together. Shane gave a tight-lipped smile. Somehow I didn't think that would be happening. Hey, speaking of, I swear you rejected 10 girls last festival season. I mean, that's nothing compared to me, naturally, but there were so many girls with broken hearts. Even I couldn't mend them all. You still hung up on your English girlfriend? Shane flinched, visibly taken aback, then he shrugged. I don't talk to her anymore. Oh, Shane, I just want you to be happy, that's all. He wiped away a fake tear. Shane grimaced. How great would it be if someone asked me, maybe even if one of the normal boots guys did? No, I doubt that would ever happen. They were only letting me sit here because they physically assaulted me. I sighed and cut my beefcake with a plastic knife. So, any girls in mind, fellas? Beside me, May shifted nervously. Her eyes kept flicking from Jared to her french fries, and she looked like a child who stole several cookies. Jared spread out his arms and raised an eyebrow, a god waiting for names to fall into his lap. Excuse me. Oh boy. I'm thinking of going solo this year, to be honest. Yeah, same. Man, you guys are boring. Josh, you aren't much better. Oh, you aren't much better, man. I am on another level compared to you guys. I've already got my choice picked out. There was a quiet clattering next to me. May had dropped her fork. Yeah, I'm sure you have, and it'll probably be a new choice tomorrow. Jared flipped his hair with his hand. You know me so well. There's only so much time to make many different girls' dreams come true. I must find the one who is most in need. So it's not even about which one you like, huh? Nope. And you make fun of me. Just then the warning bell rang. It was time to head back to class. As everyone got up to toss their trays, I stood up and, overwhelmed with a sudden burst of feeling, shouted, Thank you for letting me and May eat lunch with you today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Hana was having a terrible day and you guys cheered her right up. So, see you guys again tomorrow, same time? May tilted her head, eyes twinkling. May, Paul said we could only sit with them today. It's cool. Paul waved a hand of dismissal, almost dropping his tray with the other. The cafeteria is really crowded and we have extra room at our table. People are too afraid to sit with us or something. Well, we did kick a girl yesterday. All three of them shrugged at the same time, then left the room, moving in unison like a team of synchronized swimmers. Jared dumped his tray and jogged to catch up with them. As soon as they were out of earshot, May took my hands in hers and jumped up and down. You did it, Hana! We get to sit at the popular table. I've been trying to do this for 2 years, and you did it in 2 days! She dropped her hands and made a, jokingly, I think, angry face. Main characters have all the fun. You'll be in Paris painting a diorama or a papier-mâché lamp, anything postmodern. Then write a paper on design. Or don't, that works too. But remember, this project will count for 10% of your final grade, so work hard. Sound good? The only response was bitter murmuring. Miss Shizuka often ended with sounds good, but she never cared about the answer. Alright, in the last few minutes of class, pick your partners and discuss your project plan. We'll continue next time. In a matter of seconds, almost all the desks in the room connected. I looked at May, but a girl, Mimi Santos, had already claimed her. May frowned at me as if to apologize. I scanned the classroom for the few other people I met, finding them already paired. I was going to be the only one without a partner. Suddenly, the edge of a desk collided with mine.
Hey.
Guess we'll be working together. PBG sat in front of me with a cheeky grin. Didn't he sit on the other side of the room? How did he get his desk over here so quickly? I leaned over past him. He left a gaping hole and several collapsed students in its wake. Seeing my gaze, he turned around. Oh, oops. Sorry. He waved sheepishly. Boyd glared at him. Well, for better or worse, we're partners. I guess we are. Sorry. Why are you apologizing? Wait, no, that's not what I meant at all. You're super smart. I'm just sorry you're stuck with me. You're pretty smart too, though, right? Not that I knew. I guess, but I hate schoolwork. I don't care about it at all. 10% of our grade depended on this project. Oh, not that I'm going to make you do it all. I may not like school, but I'm not going to let someone else fail just because I think it sucks. I haven't done something like that since I was a kid. The girl got so mad, I learned my lesson. He laughed, hitting the desk and crinkling his nose. I didn't see what was so funny, but from the way he was looking at me, it seemed like I should. I smiled hesitantly. He stopped laughing and frowned at me the same way he did yesterday. You like apple cider? I'm sorry? Or, pinball? What about magnolias? Yeah, I guess I do. You... guess you do? But... you... He sputtered, opening and closing his mouth like he was trying to eat the air. I searched his face, wanting to help him out. He was clearly struggling. Luigi leaned forward, looking into my eyes like he was deciphering a code. Really, Ford. So close I could see little brown flecks in his eyes, Ford. What? Luigi moved away, his anxious look fading into a slight smile. Actually, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was brainstorming a subject for our piece. She didn't have any strong reactions to anything, so I guess we won't be doing those then. Like hell. The bell rang and students started packing up. Oh no, we didn't get to pick a project. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I was messing around. Don't worry, I'll come up with something. Just leave it to me. He thumped his chest as he got out of his chair, striking a pose and giving me a wide, reassuring smile. Whew. Excuse me. He shuffled his desk back to the side of the room as I packed my things away. I didn't understand what happened, but maybe it was better to forget about it. He didn't seem to want to explain. I left the classroom thinking to wait for May, but instead PBG trailed me into the hallway. He cleared his throat and I turned to face him. I tilted my head back. An uncomfortable degree. He was tall, but he was scratching his neck, avoiding eye contact. So you said you were fine I know you said you were fine at lunch, but are you sure you're okay? I mean, you were really freaked out yesterday, so... Heat crept its way into my face. No, I'm alright. As long as you're fine, if you need help with anything, you can rely on me. Though, especially since the uncertain look crossed his face again. Well, never mind. Are you heading back to the dorms? Yes. Nice, me too. We can go together. I pumped his fist into the air. I glanced into the classroom. May was still talking to Mimi, looking like she was about to rip the girl's head off. She wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go. As we turned to leave the hall, we were interrupted by someone wearing a yellow and gray jacket. A rival club's jacket. My heart stopped. Standing before us was a tall man with cheekbones like no tomorrow. I didn't recognize him from my class, which means he must have been one of the other Hidden Black members. I don't know whether I should scoff at him or ignore him, but before I could do anything, PBG held up his hand for a high five.
Hey.
Hey, Jeff. Jeff returned the gesture and the two locked into a conversation.
What's up?
PBG, you pumped about the soccer match?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this day all summer. Are you busy? I'm trying to get the team together now for a last-minute practice. You in? I am so in. I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. Are my cleats still in your locker? Yep. Awesome. Let's go then. Jeff briefly looked at me and pointed. PBG turned around, surprised I was still waiting.
Connor.
Oh, Hana. Sorry, I gotta go. I'll see you in class tomorrow. I'll make sure to bring my thinking cap. Put on an invisible hat, then gave me a thumbs up. Oh, wait. You want to come to our game? It's in a few weeks and the first one in the year, so it'd be cool if you come watch us. Mostly me, because I'm the star player. Wow, thanks. Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. I would love to come. Ooh, thanks. That means a lot to me. Usually the first game doesn't conjure a big crowd. Can I bring May? She might have planned on going anyways, but she was always including me in things. I always wanted to do the same for her.
Yeah.
Totally. Bring as many people as you want. Fill up the stands. He left with Jeff and I headed back to the dorms. May usually walked with me. It felt weird to be alone, and suddenly I realized it would feel even weirder to be in the dorm alone. Not knowing what else to do, I headed for the library. Might as well get started on some homework. I stayed in the library much longer than I anticipated, head low over a small sheet of project ideas and a thick book. Every time I thought about leaving, panic seized me. The truth was, I still didn't know my way around the academy. May had been there to guide me, and I was more focused on the people around me than the places. As students trickled past, laughing and heading off to no doubt have tons of fun, I fiddled with my pencil. I would have to leave eventually, though. Hesitantly, I closed my notebook and stood.
Hey, Hana.
Hey, Hana, how are you? I whirled around. Gerard was walking past me, a thick book in one hand.
Gerard.
Gerard, hi. I'm good, thank you. I laughed weakly and found myself, wringing my hands together. Yeah? Clearly didn't believe a word I was saying. I sighed. I'm a bit scared to leave. I know that sounds pathetic, but I don't really know my way around here, so... Yeah, you look a bit like a lost otter. A lost... otter? But hey, I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to you until now. I've been wanting to ask you if you're settling in alright. I know that transfer students don't really get introduced to the school the same way some freshmen do. Your class is okay? How's your homework load? Do you like the food? Getting along with May? I stuttered, unsure of which question to answer first. Everything's fine. May's great, yeah. She showed me around the campus recently. It was really nice of her, but she wasn't very thorough. A grin slowly spread across Gerard's face as if he was unwrapping a present. I could show you around if you like. I used to give tours to incoming students. If you're new, you should really get a tour. Yeah. Gerard's eye lit up at the mere mention of a tour. I felt bad turning him down.
All right.
Great, we can start at the boys' dorm. I need to put my books away. He laughed and then headed out of the library. I fell into step alongside him. Has anyone told you we don't get many transfers? It's been implied. I always wonder what new students think of everything right when they get here. I wish I could experience everything here for the first time again. Was your old school anything like this? Not at all. It feels more like a college campus because of the dormitories. My old high school was just a big brick building. I'm gonna need to go get some more water here in a second. I'll be right back. Gerard nodded. I thought he wanted to say more, but there we were, in front of the boys' dorm. He pulled open the door for me, and once inside, he held open his hands.
Oh, yeah.
This is Bluebell House. This is where the boys live. It's literally a carbon copy of the girls' dorm, except that the walls are blue. Feel free to walk around, but probably don't go into any rooms. I'm gonna go drop this off. I'll be right back. He raced off to the stairwell, then took them two at a time. I got the feeling that he was rushing so as not to make me wait longer than I had to, and I smiled. It made me feel cared for. There wasn't much to do, or there wasn't much to look at or do while I was waiting, though. I stepped to the side so as not to block the door and stretched out my neck, listening to the sounds of an action movie from a room nearby. Maybe I should wait outside? I headed for the dormitory door, but when I reached to pull it open, the door swung open by itself and two yellow-jacketed men stepped into the hall. I stared up at them in shock, and they looked at me in the same way. Whoa, pink hair, that's unique. The one on the right instantly called out my hair in a thick British accent. The other, probably the youngest student I met so far, scanned me up and down. You're the girl who sat at the normal boots table today, aren't you? You could tell? Was my presence already so well known just from sitting at their table? I wasn't sure whether to be pleased or upset, but the men in front of me were busy talking amongst themselves. I never thought they'd entertain having a girl join them. Do you think it's because of the puzzle incident? Shane would never be comfortable with someone joining up just like that, though. They hardly know her. There must be some reason that she sat with them, though. They're planning a secret weapon. We should get back at them. Excuse me? I shouted into the middle of them, shocking even myself. I wasn't usually so loud or forward, but the way these two were bickering gave me the impression that if I didn't stop them, they'd keep on going forever. I'm right here. You can just ask me something if you're confused.
Hey!
Hey, you're right. So are you joining the Normal Boots Club then, or...
What?
Joining the Normal Boots Club never even crossed my mind as a possibility. All I was thinking about was getting in good with them, getting on their good side so that hopefully people wouldn't mess with me. Actually joining the club, was that even possible? And weren't they gamers or something? I had almost no experience with video games. There was no way I'd be able to join. Seeing my crestfallen face, the young member backtracked. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. We're members of the Hidden Block Club and our normal... Blech! And the Normal Boots Club is our rival in the tournaments, so we were just wondering.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful person.
I'm Cadicarus, and this is Jimmy Wetzel. You can call me Caddy for short, though. Everyone does. Everyone? Jimmy cast a knowing glance in Caddy's direction, and Caddy grimaced. Almost everyone. Beautiful? Thank you. Don't mind him, he tells everybody that. Because everybody is a beautiful person. Ouch.
Hey, guys!
Oh, hey, guys. Gerard skidded around the corner, panting as if he ran the entire way. In fact, I didn't doubt that he had. I see you met Hana. She's a new friend of ours, so be nice to her, alright?
What?
Why would we ever be anything but nice?
Yeah, whatever.
Last year's tournament would beg to differ. That was one time, and only because Shane ate my pizza. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Later, guys!
Anyways, I don't want to keep you. I was giving Hannah a tour of the campus since she's new here. Well, it was nice meeting you. I hope we'll see you around more.
Bye!
It was nice meeting you. Gerard waved the pair off as they climbed the staircase, then held the door open for me again. And we're off again. Excuse me. That's the Azalea Arts Center. There's a recording booth and lots of spare rooms for clubs to meet in. Theater's right next to it. It's where John holds the drama club and all his rehearsals. I think the student council elections are held there, and Jared has a special event at least once a semester. Last year it was a martial arts exhibit, and Jared did kendo against the other practitioners in the school. He shook his head in awe.
See what I mean?
He's truly talented. Really, all of my friends are. I think I'm really lucky to have people like that around me. Ah, Gerard.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you have a question? No, that's alright. Great. Over here you can see Hikanbana peeking out over the distance. There's a field separating us. People like to eat there. Gerard seemed a cheerful, grateful, down-to-earth kind of person. He was really going out of his way to help me out and be kind to me. And didn't even realize seemed to realize what a big deal that was. I giggled. Something told me I shouldn't point it out. Despite that, I was truly thankful. He took me to places May did and more, describing everything in several past events in excruciating detail. It was a little much for a friendly tour, but having the names and locations of the building burned into my mind was a good thing. We ended the tour back at Poppy Hall, for what seemed like hours of walking. Gerard was keen on finishing off the tour with the best place on campus. Ta-da! Here it is, the Normal Boots Club room. Pushed the door open and pointed inside. It would look like a regular room filled with desks and some kind of toys. It's not much, but it's home to some of my happiest memories. He shut the door again and dusted his hands. There's a little closet here. People used to store things too. He reached to turn the handle but paused and retracted his hand. Was that a shutter I saw? Just a little tip. Knock before you open the door to any closet on campus. Why? Oh, you know, ghosts, I guess? That was strange advice. Delivered strangely. Gerard was uncomfortable. I wasn't sure what to make of it. He knocked and a few seconds later opened the door. Okay. Someone was in that closet. I was not expecting someone in that closet. Why was someone in the closet?
Hey!
Hey. Gerard waved to the person and closed the door and then back to me. Who? Sorry if he scared you. What? Anyways, that's it for the tour. How was it? He beamed. I hesitated, but seeing his eye twitch slightly, thought better than to bring it back up. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I learned a lot about the school and about you and your friends. It really made me feel included. No problem, not at all. I like helping out. I wish I had someone to show me around when I first got here.
Huh.
You have no idea how long it took me to find all the secret tunnels to make a complete map of the campus. Secret tunnels?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, oh man, I've got to show you. Gerard glanced at the clock hanging on the wall and winced.
Oh.
Darn, I gotta get going. I have homework to do. But if you ever need more help, I'm here for you. He got out a notebook and scribbled something down, then he ripped it out and gave it to me. Here, my phone number, dorm number, address, parents' phone number, email, Facebook, and Blipper information. Don't hesitate to ask me anything.
See you later.
I'll see you later, Hana. It was really great spending time with you. Just like that, he was gone. I put the paper in my bag, chuckling softly to myself, then paused. I had to check. We were in front of the supply closet the whole time, and I fought the urge to open the door after Gerard closed it. Now I was going to see who was in there. Darkness. The light was off this time. I slid my hand across the wall, looking for the switch, and flipped it. There was no one in the closet. I froze, still as the paints and construction paper that lined the walls. He wasn't in here, and this was the only exit. I closed the door, blinked hard, and walked straight back to my dorm room. Forget about it. Just forget about it. Ignoring that last incident, Gerard truly went out of his way to show he was thinking about me. In fact, I got the impression he was this way for everyone, maybe even everything. He was very thorough. He was very thorough, and when he wanted to help you, he did everything in his power to do so. Maybe it hadn't meant much to him, but it meant a lot to me. I returned to the dorm and crawled into bed with a smile on my face, ready to take on the next day. This time I knew I wouldn't get lost. May and I arrived at Poppy Hall the next morning and immediately became clear. Something had changed. Posters drenched the wall and nausea-inducing neon colors were plastered on the lockers. Several students gathered to take a look. Oh, my gosh. We all walked over to one of the walls to get a better look. Is that Jared? When May didn't respond, I turned to look at her. The expression on her face told me her mind wandered somewhere that would have made a call girl blush. May, you're drooling. I seemed to jolt her out of her fantasy. She lifted a sleeve up to wipe away the drivel on her chin. I am not. What are these posters for? Well, last year Jared put on a fashion show. It looks like he's doing it again this year. I didn't know Jared was into fashion. I shrugged. He's not. I waited for some type of clarification.
So cute.
One time in biology, I saw him take off his sweater and his shirt got kind of stuck to it and he pulled it up and I swear he had like 20 abs. I waited in vain.
Good morning.
Hello, ladies. Oh no. May and I whipped around. There stood Jared in all his glittering, magnificent glory. May's face turned a blushing pink. The most beautiful guy in school. I see you're admiring my totally sweet posters. Yeah, they're really something, Jared. I like your abs. Sudden soul-crushing realization of what she said Her expression twisted into a mixture of horror and disgust. Jared was unfazed. Thanks, but Hana, it was actually you I wanted to speak to. Why would you want to talk to me? Oh, yeah, okay. What's up? Jared looked expectantly at May. She didn't move. Realizing she was in trouble, I nudged her with my elbows as suddenly as I could.
Hey!
May, would you go get me a soda? I'm really thirsty. Without a word, May scuttled away. Jared turned back to me, a cool glint in his eye. He seemed used to the effect he had on women. I wanted to talk to you about the fashion show, actually. You're new here and all, so you probably don't know, but every year I like to put on a little fashion show to showcase my modeling skills. Wait, what? You know, just to make sure people don't forget what I'm capable of. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a stack of glossy photos and stuck them into my hands. I stared down at them in awe. I flipped through them, starting to notice a pattern. As you can tell, my beauty is something that can't go to waste. I like to hold a yearly fashion show here at Asagao Academy to ensure that everyone gets it. The yearly Joseph Pro Jared. Oh lord. I flipped to the last photo. Heat shot up my neck and into my ear. Surely this was some kind of joke. I shoved the stack of photos back at him, wiping my sweaty palms against my shirt. What does this have to do with me? Ah, that might have been a touch rude. Jared, as smooth as ever, just simply smiled. I think you have potential, Hana. He suddenly leaned in close to me. So close, in fact, that I could smell his cologne. A musky, sweet aroma of earthy scents and... Am? Potential for what exactly? Jared shifted, his mouth so close to my ear I could feel its heat. For greatness. He reached into his shirt pocket and retrieved a small slip of paper. With quivering hands, I accepted it.
All right.
My card. My number's on the bottom. If you're ever interested, I could teach you a thing or two about modeling. I stared down at the card in my hand, feeling that if I looked away, it would disappear. By the time I gathered the courage to face him again, Jared was gone. Feeling quite dizzy, I headed for class, the business card strangled to death in my white-knuckled hand. By the time I got through the milling students into the classroom, Maya was sitting at her desk, face down and completely still. I took my seat and twisted around to poke the digested May-shaped... dejected May-shaped heap. She didn't budge. May. I heard a muffled groan of despair.
I can't believe this.
Such a social disaster. No, you're not. I tried to sound comforting, but I was never good at this sort of thing. May finally lifted her hand from her desk. What's that? She motioned to the business card that was still in my hand. I set it in front of her. May appraised it for a long minute with a blank face, as if I set a rare artifact in front of her that she didn't exactly believe was real. Then her eyebrows pulled together. He gave you his number? Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, not really. He said I should call him if I want him to teach him how to model like him. It was embarrassing to even say, and the words felt awkward in my mouth. At the moment I said them out loud, I wished I could grab them back and swallow them. I expected May to give me a once-over before making an off-the-cuff comment about I wasn't nearly pretty enough to be a model, but she didn't.
Yeah!
He, totally wants to get with you. Her tone was so matter-of-fact I gaped.
What?
What? No, he doesn't. Why would you say that?
Bingo.
Okay, Hannah, I've taken enough sex ed classes to know when a guy fully wants you, and Jared, fully wants you. Mortified, I snatched the business card off her desk and shoved it into my jacket pocket, turning away. My cheeks felt like they were on fire. By now the classroom was filled with students. They chatted amongst themselves, but the white noise of their conversations wasn't loud enough to drown May out. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see JonTron and PBG seated in their desks at the back of the classroom. Talking seriously. I'm talking serious grabby hands on the back of Dad's Camaro here. You're gonna make babies with Pro Jared, Hana. Little, glittering Jared babies. No, I'm not. You're totally crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. Shizuka like some sort of angle clear angel. Whew. I can be your devil or your angle. Anyway, I cleared her throat at the front of the class. I exhaled gratefully and sunk down into my seat. The class finally ended. May and I headed for the cafeteria, the incident forgotten in her hurried attempt to explain Miss Shizuka's scandalous last relationship.
What a jerk!
Seriously, he spent all of his time trying to choose between her and some dead chick, who only liked him because he looked like her ex-boyfriend. I mean, who does that? We got our food and hesitated in the middle of the room, looking at the normal boots table. Neither of us wanted to go up and demand a seat, especially after wiggling our way in the day before. What if they changed their minds? But Satch, noticing us standing like lost lambs in the middle of the room, waved us over.
Hey, girl.
Hey girl, how was class? Oh, you know, normal? Satch nodded and turned away, having been in the middle of talking to Josh. That was awkward. Despite how familiarly he treated me, I still didn't know how to talk to him, or any of them. I looked across the table and locked eyes with PPG, who stared at me like I was a baby German shepherd. You...
All right.
Cookies! What?
Oh,
You
sick.
brought us cookies. You're the best, Gerard. Paul sprang out of his chair and practically tackled Gerard. Whoa, calm down. There's more than enough cookies to go around. Gerard started passing the cookies around the table, but paused. You're back again? He looked at May and me, I tried to ignore the disappointment on his face. Well, here. He handed us each a cookie, then headed back across the cafeteria. I stared at the small chocolate chips melting in the warm cookie. Did he not want us here? But he was so nice to me yesterday. Didn't even want to eat the cookie. Not if he was gonna be as two-faced as that. Hey, watch where you're walking next time. A sheepish Gerard stood next to a short, skinny boy who was holding a tray above his head. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful. Oh, you're from Normal Boots. Wait, you're the guy who plays with itty-bitty kitties, aren't you? The boy sneered. How the heck did you manage to get in with a group like that?
Huh?
They're my friends. And with those stupid dolls. You're an embarrassment. The kid's friends were hitting his shoulders, looking from Gerard to our table with panicked eyes. I think they're fun. Shh. Whatever. The kid was let off by his friends. Gerard came back and sat down at the table. That was weird. Gerard sat down and began happily munching on his cookie, looking for all the world like he didn't care about what just happened. I scanned the cafeteria for the boy who heckled him and found him sitting alone at a table, his head in his hands. His friends left him behind. What was that about? Oh, that. I used to get it all the time. I collect itty-bitty kitty figurines. You know, that kid show with the 5 kittens who live in Kitten Town. They're originally supposed to have magic powers, but whatever. I collect their figurines. They're so cute. I've almost gotten them all, only missing Princess Pumpernickel. She's the rarest. Why was that guy making fun of you? Doesn't it bother you? I was afraid of bringing up bad feelings, but Gerard just shook his head. Looks kind of weird, right? A teenage boy collecting toys meant for little girls. But I like them, so I don't let it bother me. Sorry I didn't bring enough cookies the first time, Hana. I forgot you were joining us again, but I'm glad you're here. I bit my lip. See, Hana, he was being nice the whole time. And here you were jumping to conclusions. Hey, your cookie will get cold if you don't eat it. I unwrapped the cookie. Scents of chocolate and cinnamon hit me. I broke off a piece and popped it into my mouth. Gerard whispered something into Nick's ear, who started laughing so hard milk came out of his nose. Was he really okay with people making fun of him? I couldn't believe it. I didn't believe it. At my old school, people made fun of me every day. It was hell. There was no way he could just brush it off like that. Not when I tried so hard to do the same. But as I finished the cookie and started on my ramen, and Gerard continued to laugh at the rest of the Normal Boots, I wondered whether it was impossible as I always thought. Anna, can you pass me some pepper? I got it. Here, Jared. Thanks. What's your name again? It's May.
Nice.
Thanks, May.
Hana!
Well, Hana, ready to head back? Huh? Oh, yeah. Did May look sad, or did I imagine it? We threw our trays on the racks and headed out of the cafeteria. Excuse me. As we waved to the Normal Boots and Gerard cheerily waved back, a sudden pang hit my stomach. Was it guilt? After class ended that day, May said she had volleyball practice and sped off. Thankfully, this time I knew where I was going, so I headed straight back and collapsed on my bed. It was nice to have some time to myself. After everything that happened, I felt like I was going crazy. I used some relaxation. I didn't have a computer or a TV. The book Satch gave me was really good, but sometimes it got a bit hard to read. Instead, I took out my phone and started flipping through the App Store. Nothing really looked good. Wait, what was this? Set up. Dumbadoom's Revenge. Face off against 3 players as you catch monsters, raise them, and use their unique skills to aid you on your puzzle-solving quest. Only you can save Metaworld from its ignorant king and utter destruction. Now the single-player campaign. Raise crops to feed your monsters. If you're lucky, they'll transform into cute girls. What the heck? Looks so stupid, but it couldn't hurt to give it a try. I downloaded and started up the game. Welcome to Dumbadoom's Revenge. I skipped the intro sequence and quickly hit single player. Loading. Load times were terrible. Suddenly, a cartoonish hilly valley met my eyes, panning over to a white castle nestled next to a cliff. A lazy king lay asleep on a throne when a squat silver soldier ran into the room. King Dumbadoom, quickly, we're under attack. Oh, just send the first battalion off, please. I'm rather tired. Night left, and the screen faded to a world map showing a horde of black blobs on the right side of the screen. A small group of knights ran up against the blobs and were instantly devoured. One of the black blobs spit out a helmet with a skull inside. What the heck is this game? Things continued this way with the king sending off his battalions haphazardly until no one was left. Then the king awoke in his chair and turned to the screen. You? And me? Only you can save my kingdom. Please. I don't think I can save your kingdom. You're the one menacing it. How dare you? What the heck? Could this thing hear me? You are no longer my advisor. Go back to your home village and let me deal with this myself. A tiny sprite with brown hair flew across the world map, bouncing into a bunch of red houses. I guess my only choice is to raise an army of monsters myself, overthrow the king, then raise an army to fight the oncoming bloopity bloobs. How the heck did you come to that conclusion? Finally, I was allowed to play the actual game. A dozen multicolored blocks appeared on the screen. The monsters I was initially given could only hit their corresponding colors and couldn't activate any traps. Supposedly, more monsters could eventually learn how to set traps, and you could do certain combos to hinder the opposing team. If you had an attractive girl on your team, she could use an ability to double the rate of your opponent's blocks, or half their clock time. That had a drawback for you too, and could be used as an asset by the opponent. Not to mention that certain color combinations between girls and monsters activated unique secret abilities, and you could evolve your monsters by feeding them things. Heck, am I supposed to remember all of this? I failed the first few times, but quickly got the hang of it. It was just about being adaptable and maintaining a flexible strategy after all. My eyes started to hurt, and I looked at the time. 8 o'clock? It had been 4 hours? I had reading to do. I grabbed my textbook, flicked the radio on, and began to read. There have been many tales where the moon has fallen on other planets, the most popular being the myth of Termina. However, these myths have never been proven to be more than a hallucination. My eyes blurred over my astronomy textbook and I yawned. The Schubert piece floating from my radio made me want to go to sleep, and I toyed the idea of going to class without finishing my reading. Excuse me. Who cared about how many times the moon was supposed to fall, especially when time travel was involved? Anna! May burst into the door, flung herself across the room, and grabbed my radio. Hey, where have you been? What are you doing? Give me a second, we're missing it. There we go. But I swear, that dog was the living worst. That's why you need a bird like my lovely Jacques. Watch your tongue. What is this? Shh.
Hey.
So, the time has come to make an official announcement. This year, just like every year, the Normal Blues Club will be participating in a video game tournament.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yay! As PPG applauded as though he were a crowd of 30 people, I shot a puzzled glance at May. I hope you guys will support us again this year, and best of luck to our competitors. You guys are going down. And now for some music. May turn on the radio inside. Okay, what did you want? What was that? PB&J. It's PB and John's radio show. They have a radio show? What do they do on it? Oh, you know, they talk and stuff and play music sometimes. Everyone in school listens to it. So glad you brought your radio. I forgot mine at home. And a video game tournament? Yeah, didn't you hear them talking about it the other day? No. Come to think of it, I haven't paid much attention to their conversations. I was too busy worrying about myself. Every year they have a game tournament down at Hikabana Mall. Lots of people come to compete, but everybody knows the real fight is between Normal Boots Club and the Hidden Block Club. Is that what they do? Video game tournaments? That's why nobody's ever joined them since their inception. Well, I guess partly because they're a group of friends who just happen to make a club together. But also, unless you're really talented, you just drag them down. Ouch. Not all of them are so harsh, but some of them, well, Faye glanced away, but I felt like she knew I knew who she was talking about. That's too bad. The conversation I had before with Jimmy and Caddy came to mind. They really thought I was joining the Normal Boots Club? There was no way. I hadn't played a video game since I was a kid. My father gave me a 4DS when I left home, but the night before I left home for Asagao, my dad came to visit me in my room. Packed the few things I owned into a briefcase in a single cardboard box set to be shipped with the train. I sat and stared at the box, somewhat bitter. I barely even needed it. Didn't own much. Hana? Yeah, Dad? My father stood in front of me, a weary smile on his face. Even though he tried to hide it, I could see by the deep wrinkles around his eyes and forehead that he was tired. Sad. The past few years had taken their toll on him, and I hadn't used things. Sorry about that. Just a second. You'll be leaving tomorrow. Yeah. A heavy silence had hung between us, filling my childhood bedroom like styrofoam. Are you excited? Yeah, I am. He nodded and glanced around my room with the pale blue walls, the broken clock above my old desk, and the scuff marks around the doorframe from where I ran into it as a kid. I lived in this house almost my whole life, ever since moving after kindergarten. Everything I knew, but now it was too much for me. The decision to transfer to Asagao didn't come lightly. First, it was a prestigious institution with a highly prized reputation. Only the best of the best, touting either great grades or impressive talent or lots of money, could get in. I was none of these things, but I made it in regardless. Part of me suspected I was a charity case. I had received a small scholarship, but it would no doubt look good for the Academy to have fostered a poverty-stricken child in its walls. Despite the fact that my father couldn't afford it even with the scholarship, he agreed, guaranteed he'd support me if I went. I looked again at the wrinkles in his face, his sagging shoulders. He pressed his hands against his body to hide the way they shook. All for me. He'd be all alone. I'm glad you're going. I think this will be good for you. Yeah. I wish I could say something else, but nothing came. Well, honey, just in case you get homesick, I brought a present for you. A present? From his pocket, my dad produced a shining pink Nintendo 40S and placed it into my hands. For you. But why? How? Dad, this costs so much. You're already killing yourself to let me go. Why would you? Tears spilled from my eyes as my dad smiled. Nothing is too good for you, my dear Hannah. His voice was trembling. You're my pride and joy. You deserve so much better than you've gotten from me. Dad. Go to Asagao. Have fun. Make a lot of friends. And when you get homesick, play with that. I'll make do. I stood up and hugged him, burying my face in his scratchy sweater and oatmeal smell. I'll miss you. I'll miss you, my little Hana. Thing is, forgot to give me a cartridge to play with. Now I glanced at the machine hidden behind my desk lamp. May watched me carefully.
Wow.
Well, you never know what can happen. What do you mean? May giggled. No, nothing at all. But I just got back, so I've got work to do. Work, right. Yuji and I still had that project due, and we hadn't met to discuss it at all. He said he had it under control, but I should probably make a backup plan, just in case. Excuse me. It wasn't that I didn't trust him, it was just that... Okay, I didn't trust him. Sighing, I worked a kink out of my shoulder. It looked like it would be a long night. Ugh. What was that noise? Stop it, please. Ugh, I'm coming. Who on earth would do this so early? So early in the morning, in fact, it wasn't even light out. I quietly padded over to the door. May shifted in her bed.
What?
What? It's about time. Who? Oh, honey. She pushed past me and swept into the room, flipping on the light switch. Paul and Nick followed after him. Anna, I feel just terrible for ruining your uniform. Sincerely, we owe you an apology and a clean uniform. I'm not so good at that kind of thing, so I brought a friend to help me. Josh pulled open my drawer and tossed clothes out left and right. Oh my god, stop, that's my underwear. What's wrong with you? Didn't mean to do that voice so well. I ran up to him and grabbed his arm, trying to pull him away. Panties are so cute, they're perfect for you. Get away from there! Where's your uniform? I ducked below Josh and pulled open the door, pulled open a drawer, pulling out the sticky fabric. Here, take it. I threw it at Josh's face, but he caught it with ease. This is no problem. I promise I'll have it cleaned in no time. Girls? He snapped. Follow me. Paul, Nick, and Josh swept from my room, but they didn't head towards the hall exit. Instead, they turned left, heading deeper into the dormitory. I didn't have a good feeling about this. I stepped into my slippers and ran into the hallway just in time to see the door to the girls' bathroom closed. Oh no. Ah, what are you doing in here? I sprinted to the bathroom door, but before I could get there, Paul and Nick slammed into the wall across from the door. Unlike you are the worst.
Whoa!
Whoa. No, this was all a misunderstanding, please. I'm sure it was. No, Mimi, it really was. Wait a second, where's the other person who was with them? She's doing something with a uniform in the sink. Mimi tossed her head with a sniff and headed back into the bathroom. Does she actually think Josh is a girl? She wouldn't be the first. Josh himself believes he's a girl. That wig is magical. Well, stay out of the girls' bathroom. It's not exactly going to help your platform if word gets out around that you're a pervert. A shadow fell over Paul's face. I sighed. Don't worry, I'll talk to Mimi. Go. Back to the boys' dorm.
Alright.
Thank you so much, Hana. Yeah. I watched them scamper away, then headed into the bathroom. Hey, Joshua Lena? You and I should probably get going. I rounded the corner and found him doing Mimi's hair. In a second, Hana. I've just gotta finish this. You met Joshua Lena? She's so good with hair. And look, she even got the stain out of this shirt. Mimi held up my uniform. Really? Thank goodness. Thank you so much. It's no problem, honey. I guess I'll let you finish, Mimi. Mimi, you won't tell anybody about Paul and Nick coming into the bathroom, will you? Why wouldn't I? Well, as class representatives, they were just trying to help Joshua Lena get her bearings. They were showing her where the bathroom was. I should have been the one to show her, but I was asleep and they didn't want to wake me up. Oh, well, I guess it's fine then. Thank you. I stood staring at them, unsure of what to do next. Do you mind? I need to concentrate to finish this. Oh, I'm sorry. I went back to my room. Life at Asagao never got easier, did it? I was still asleep when I got back. There was no way I was going back to bed, so I changed into my uniform, grabbed my bag, and went to class early. Alrighty, guys. That is going to be where I end this one. Thank you so much for all you guys that tuned in. Let me know if you want to see me stream other stuff. soon. So yeah, thanks. See you later.